every step is a struggle. Yeah, it's quite a unique experience. At that point, when I got to the summit and I sat down, I was completely exhausted. I said to myself, yeah, never again. Never again. Pretty stoked on this one, not gonna lie. Official certificate from the Nepalese government that I successfully climbed and skied Mera Peak. Stoked for sure. But it's nice to be back home. Had a great time in Nepal. I made it to the top of Mera Peak, ski down successfully. And ever since I came home, I've been going over some photos and I've been editing. And the first episode from my trip to Mera Peak is done, and it's gonna be published in a very few days from now on. But before that, I figured we'd go over some photos from the trip, so you can get yourself warmed up to the edits, and also you can get a bit of feel for the trip, and I can showcase some other parts of my work, because in case you don't know, then photography is what I started with, and then I kind of transitioned to filming the last few years or so. But photography is kind of what I enjoy the most, and I think what I also do best, if I may say so. But I do enjoy filming as well, so it goes hand in hand, of course, but photography is closest to my heart, to put it that way. So I figured without further ado, let's just jump into Lightroom right here, and we can just get going. This first photo is from Lukla. This is the airport you will fly to if you're gonna trek or climb in Khumbu Valley, or the valley that I walked in to get to Mera Peak. I can't really remember the name of the valley that I trekked in to get to Mera Peak, but I will put it on the screen so you can see. But Khumbu Valley is the most popular valley to trek in. That's where you have Everest, you have Aula Blam, you have Island Peak. Yeah, a lot of famous mountains, and it's super nice to trek there, of course. So yeah, Lukla, you fly in, and it's a super cool flight. It's situated on the foothills of Khumbu Valley, so it's surrounded by mountains, of course, which means it's a quite demanding airport to fly to, if you're a pilot, of course. And they only fly when it's good weather, which means blue skies and sun. If it's cloudy or foggy or anything like that, they don't fly at all, because you have no option to fail to land, if you know what I'm saying. Like, you don't get a second try if you miss the first landing, so you just basically land on the first try or go straight into the mountainside. So if you're gonna take this flight, I recommend you to go on the left side on the airplane. A little bit of a pro tip, because that's when you get to see all the epic mountains, and you come in and you kind of fly below some of the mountains, so you just basically watch straight into the mountainside, which is pretty awesome. After I hang out in Lukla a couple of days, I had to wait for my ski bag to arrive, because it didn't get to Kathmandu when I arrived. But once the ski bag arrived, I was on my way, and the skis, as you can see, are on my back, and you have Lukla far in the distance, and I'm starting to trek on this quite nice trail. This is how it is in Khumbu Valley. This is not Khumbu Valley, of course, but this type of trail is normal in Khumbu Valley. But this is straight out of Lukla. I've been walking for maybe 2 kilometers, so yeah, it was pretty good quality trail to start with. And the reality definitely got to me once I put the backpack on and started walking. And at this point, I'm around 3,000 meters above sea level. I think Lukla is 2008 or 2009, so you start pretty high up, and yeah, definitely feel the altitude right away. But I try to stay positive and just went slowly, drank water step by step, trying not to get sick. But it was nice to get going. And this is Chutanga, 4.5-5 kilometers from Lukla, 650 meters or something. It's basically just a stone house, 2 stone house, one that had a kitchen and like a dining area, and then there was a stone house for the sleeping section. It's not luxury, to put it that way. Made it here the first day, met this Nepalese guy who was also trekking, just outside having a cigarette, of all things. He meant that was good for him. I wasn't too sure about that, but he was living in Australia, so he spoke really well English. He was on a tight itinerary, I'd say. I wasn't like on a 2-week itinerary. He was on maybe 1.5, so I don't know. He was basically just rushing to get to the peak. He meant he would handle the altitude. I don't know if he did. I never Met him again after the next day, so I don't know really what happened to him, if he made the summit or not. But he was a nice guy, absolutely. But Chitanga, not my favorite place in the world, to put it that way. And the next day, we started walking up this mountain pass. This was definitely the worst day, like mentally. I mean, it was physically pretty hard too, but when I woke up that morning and saw the mountain pass I had to get over, I was not feeling it, to put it that way. I was feeling pretty low. I'm not gonna lie. You'll find everything out once I drop the first episode, but it was a steep mountain pass to get over, and with the skis on the backpack and the altitude, I was really not sure if I would make it, to be honest. Yeah, I was not sure at all. I'll tell you more about this photo. I'll just show you another photo of me walking up to said mountain pass, which is this one. This is a GoPro photo, and you can see all the way down to the valley. That's where we started, you know, with the green area all the way at the bottom there. You can see Chitanga almost, I think it's just around the corner at the left side there. So yeah, it was a pretty long and steep mountain pass. Chitanga was at 3005, and this mountain pass topped out at 4006, so it was like 1100 height meters in 2 or 3 kilometers or something. I don't know, it was steep. Keep calm and carry on, as they say, and that's what I did. And eventually we made it to the top, and that's where this photo comes into play again. This is at the top of the mountain pass, and there's prayer flags usually at top of these certain passes, or nice viewpoints and stuff. It's kind of to mark a specific area or a specific viewpoint and places like that, which is pretty cool. You know you have something to aim at, because I could see the prayer flags all the way at the bottom, like not at the bottom, but pretty far down. So I knew what I had to aim for. But I didn't make it all the way to the mountain pass with the skis on my back. The porter that I also brought, or I had with me, who carried my duffel bag with all my clothes and ski gear and camera gear and hiking boots, the lot. He also took my skis and boots for a while there, because it went a bit slow. I had to do a lot of pauses on the way to the top of the mountain pass, and 100 height meters before the top, he came running down and took my backpack with the skis and went back up again. Yeah, the porters are crazy, to put it that way. They're absolutely insane. And this is Lakpa, the Sherpa. He is 23-year-old, I think. He looks a bit older, but he's a proper mountain guy. He's been to Everest several times and other big mountains, lots of 8,000 meters peaks. How many times Everest?
8 times.
8 times Everest?
Yeah. And Kanchenjunga 1 times,
Yeah.
Shoyu 2 times, Manasolu, and Dalhotse 2 times, Amadala 7 times,
Yeah.
Peak, LM Peak, or Mera Peak, Lopuchi Peak, Benefit Peak.
A lot of mountains, a lot of 8,000, so I'm in good hands, I believe. I'm not really that worried about my guide on this trip. It's more myself I have to worry about, I believe. And he has grown up in a small village called Pangboche, which is the last village before you get to Everest Base Camp. So we're talking 4,500 meters above sea level or something. He's quite fit, to put it that way, and knows how to handle the altitude. So I'm glad I had him with me, and definitely made the trip, I don't know what to say, safer and more comfortable. Maybe not comfortable, but you definitely feel more safe with a Sherpa, because they know everything about trekking in the area, how to handle altitude, what to do, what not to do, and made sure you eat, sleep, drink, stuff like that. I mean, if you're just gonna go trekking in Nepal, like not climbing, just go trek, I would say that a Sherpa or a porter maybe is necessary. If you talk to a expedition company or a guide company, they will definitely say you do. But of course, they will say that because, I mean, they want your money. And of course, they want to make sure you are safe, and you can be sick or get sick in the Himalayas for sure, considering everything is so high. But if I would to go back and only trek, not climb, I think I would go alone or just bring a friend or two and fix, all the permits myself and then just hang out by myself or with my friends. Because in one way it's really nice to have a Sherpa, especially in the mountains. When I was going to the summit, that's where it's really valuable. Lakpai was a really nice guy, really competent, so I'm glad I had him with me. And here Lakpai is again. We now walked along a river up the valley for a couple of days, and the massive mountains are starting to appear, and yeah, it's starting to get really nice and majestic, super nice. So I snapped a photo of Lakpa watching over the mountains, even though he's probably seen a lot of them before. But for me it's quite cool. I mean, we're not trekking in a valley that's around 4,500 meters above sea level, something like that, and then these mountains are around like 6,000, 6.5 maybe, I don't know. It's pretty crazy to see all those giants just emerge themselves. So this is Kote. This is the last village in the valley when you're walking towards Mera Peak. So here I am having a self-portrait with the crow above my head. And this is the lodge I lived in, the lodge behind there. Mera Alpine Lodge it's called. It was run by two young boys, two young Sherpa boys. Sherpa is a type of people, it's not necessarily a guide. So the two boys who ran the lodge doesn't guide, but they had been to Mera Peak. But of course they can handle altitude like most Sherpas can. But they were really cool, nice guys, and the lodge was really nice. Slept well there, they had good food, and on the bottom floor there at the opening, underneath the blue sign on the left side, they had like a rental store or a small rental shed. I'm gonna rent a pair of proper mittens. So you could rent all the equipment you needed to summit Mera Peak. So yeah, it's a cool place, Kote. And this is 4,009 I think, or 4,008, I'm not really sure, but it's quite high. It was always really nice blue skies in the start of the day, but in the afternoon the clouds always rolled in. So behind me on the left side, the fog is, or the clouds are. It's like a massive mountain behind there, which unfortunately is covered, so that's a bit of a bummer, but otherwise I kind of like this photo. Maybe I'll be back someday, but not next year I believe. I have some other plans. The porter took the skis for the most part, to be honest, I'm not gonna lie. But the last day to Kote, I took the skis, and also from Kote to base camp, I took the skis. So this is towards base camp, and this is me and Lakpa having a small selfie. Cool as a cucumber, I'd say. So this is base camp, and base camp is not used anymore, which I think is a shame in a way, because I think it would be a nice place to sleep, because it's 300 meters above Kote and 600 meters below high camp, so it would be a good acclimatization place. But now it's only used for a hangout place during the day, I believe. They have a big ass green tent on the right side there, where they had tea and maybe some biscuits and stuff, but it's no kitchen, they don't make any food here or anything, so people don't use base camp anymore basically to go to Mera Peak. So we went here just for acclimatization. We walked up from Kote up to base camp, and then you can see the glacier there. That's where you start to put your crampons and start to walk towards Mera Peak. You can see the tracks there, up on the glacier. So you start really steep and then you go towards high camp. So you start to walk up from Kote. Then you walk towards the glacier, you put on the crampons, and then you walk up to high camp. So that's a bit of a problem, I think, because usually every day you do around 500-600 meters of height meters every day. But from Kote to high camp is 900 height meters. So that's a lot of increase in height meters in one day. And even though you're quite acclimatized, once you get to Kote and you've been up to base camp one day and then back again, but still from Kote to high camp, that's when problems start for most people, and that includes me. But I'm not gonna say much about that now, you will just have to wait and see. But I made it to high camp at least. This is from my tent in high camp. It's a pretty spectacular view, even though the camp was quite shitty place. Lakpa is just chilling and I'm chilling in my tent, just relaxing after, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours from Kote maybe to high camp. And it just sits on this rock shelves. Yeah, so it's not much space. This is where Lakpa or the Sherpa really show their values, where they just run around and get tea and food and make sure you are comfortable and as ready as can be for a summit push. Yeah, so this is how the high camp looks like from outside the tent. It's pretty spectacular, definitely, but as you can see, it's it's basically rock shelves all the way down, you know, different levels. It's not very wide, and it's not the most comfortable place to hang out, to put it that way. Sure, it's not, and all the way you can see a little bit on the right side of the corner, just on the edge of the picture. That's a toilet, and it sits on the edge of the cliff. As you say, I didn't use that toilet at all. So at 3 a.m. in the morning, we started walking towards the summit and made it to the summit around 6:30, 7 o'clock. Here we go, summit photo. And on the right side here, I believe we have Everest, and I'm not sure what's on the left side. I will figure out and put it on the screen, but the views were pretty spectacular. There's no doubt about it. It was quite hell to get up there, even though it's just a trekking peak. Yeah, walking in those type of altitudes, it's a whole different ball game. I can't really explain how it feels like, but every step is a struggle. Yeah, it's quite a unique experience. At that point, when I got to the summit and I sat down, I was completely exhausted. I said to myself, yeah, never again. Never again. Never again. Never again. But yeah, once I got down to Kathmandu, talked to the expedition leader, talked to the Sherpa, going over all the footage, going over all the photos. Yeah, I'm going back. That's a given, isn't it? There's also another thing that happened between Kathmandu and home that it's not a good thing. I'm not going to spoil it. You'll figure out soon enough, but it also kind of convinced me that I have to go back. So yeah, I thought this was Everest. Maybe it is. I'm not sure. I don't think it is. Find out, but yeah, this is definitely 8,000 meter peak, and I was just looking right at it. So yeah, it's just insane to stand up there. I wish I could have enjoyed it more. I was super cold on the summit. It was quite windy, and I don't know how cold it was, below 10, 15 maybe. But I think because of the altitude, you don't get the blood flowing in your fingers and toes and in the same way. So I got super cold on my fingers and toes, and I just had to take some photos, get a portrait, film a little bit, and then straight down again. But skiing down was cool. It was quite shit. It was cool, but conditions super shitty. I don't think I'm gonna talk much about it now. I'll talk more about it later, I think, in another video. But yeah, I made it down safely in the worst skiing conditions I ever done. But people usually use around 8 hours round trip, if not even more. I used 4.5 from high camp summit and down to base camp again. So it definitely had the benefits of bringing my skis, to put it that way. So this is Kote from the ridge towards base camp. This is on my way down again after summiting. And here you can see the mountains a bit more clearly. I really like this one. You see Kote all the way at the bottom there, and then you get all the mountains surrounding it. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Oh yeah, nice trip for sure. And then down to Lukla. Happy camper, happy as can be. This is at the Buddha hotel that you saw from the first photo at the terrace there. Pretty stoked. Rab equipment all the way. They supported me with clothing and funding. Not all the funding, but a good part. So yeah, enjoyed using the clothes as well. Kept me comfortable and warm. There you have it. That's the photos. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed seeing some of them. I had a really good time, even though I was alone. I had a good time, but I think if I'm gonna go to Nepal next year, which I've said several times that I'm planning on doing, then hopefully I can get someone to join me, at least for next year, because that's a proper expedition at least. But now it's time to enjoy the Christmas time and focus on cross-country skiing, because Vasaloppet is definitely on my mind. So there's gonna be a lot of cross-country skiing content coming up this winter, and after New Year's towards March. But first, of course, you're gonna see the episodes from my trip to Mera Peak 2023. So look out for that. It's probably gonna be 2 or 3 episodes, and then ski content all the way, baby. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you like this. I'll see you then really soon. Peace.